Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today we're going to talk about the origin and mythos of Harpies. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started. In Greek mythology, the Harpies were known as lesser goddesses, and they were personifications of violent winds. It was often believed that the Harpies were responsible for the abrupt disappearances of some people. However, the Harpies became more well-known with their presence in the story of the Argonauts, in which the group of heroes stumbled into the Harpies while they were tormenting King Phineus. In the earlier version, the Harpies were wind spirits that kidnapped people and made things vanish. According to this account, the Harpies were known as the Harpies. Once, they kidnapped the daughters of the king of Miletus, Pandarios, and took them to provide services to a group of female spirits known as the Furies. These spirits were very powerful. It is commonly believed that the Harpies are the offspring of the ancient sea god Thaumas and the Oceanid Electra. If this is the case, then the Harpies would be sisters to the goddess Iris, who is known for her role as a messenger. On occasion, it was said that the Harpies were, in fact, the daughters of Typhon, Typhoeus, the enormous storm giant who was Echidna's husband. In this version, Echidna was the mother of the Harpies. The Harpies were considered to be winged ladies. Despite the fact that they were first considered to be maidens, which suggested a certain amount of beauty, it was more frequent to remark on the Harpies' ugliness. Particular attention was paid to the long talons that were upon their hands, as well as facial traits that gave the impression that they were malnourished. Some people believe that the Harpies served as the watchdogs of the underworld. They frequently performed their duties in tandem with the Erinyes, and it was the Harpies who were responsible for transporting transgressors to the Erinyes for judgment. It is also possible to consider Harpies to be distantly related to Gorgons. A Gorgon was a monster from the underworld that had enormous wings, eyes that stared straight ahead, and snakes for hair. Aiello, which means hurricane, Selen, which means dark one, Osipit, which means swift, and Podarge, which means racer, were the names given to the four Harpies. According to the second version of the tale, Harpies are horrible birds that have the faces of women. Phineus, the ruler of Thrace, was subjected to Jason and the Argonauts' brand of fear in the popular narrative because they caused him to go blind and stole his food supply. Phineus made a contract with the Argonauts that if they were successful in removing the Harpies, he would reveal what the future holds for them. Harpies are frequently referred to as the hounds of Zeus due to the fact that Zeus dispatched them in order to punish Phineus, who was a prophet. Harpies are typically described as bird-like animals that are around the same size as an eagle. Their size is generally compared to that of the bird. They behave similarly to birds in that they have claws and beaks, and the odor they leave behind is strong wherever they go. There was yet another explanation provided about Harpies. They were comparable to Gorgons and Sirens in that they possessed the heads of human beings and were typically referred to as female. Harpies are related to air and wind, and as a result, they are considered to reflect the dualities of air, which are the ability to be graceful and tranquil while also being capable of bringing damage and mayhem. Harpies were seen as immortal beings due to the fact that they were associated with gods and winds. Similar to the origins of other ancient Greek monsters, there is no definitive agreement on where the Harpy came from. Some people believe that the bronze cauldron decorations of Urartu served as inspiration for the Harpies in the beginning. Others have suggested that Harpies were humanoid birds with avian bodies. Originally, Harpies were personified versions of natural phenomena that occurred frequently in ancient times. It was thought that they were the spirits of the wind. The Greeks placed a high value on inaccessible locations, such as the depths of the ocean and the sky. And because of this, they held a reverence for these locations. Because the realm of the gods, Mount Olympus, was located in the sky, atmosphere, and weather are typically associated with the whims of the gods. Therefore, it is possible to say that the Harpies arose from different breezes at different times. They were eventually endowed with a physical form for the purposes of narrative development. The weak human form of Harpies is reminiscent of the divine appearances of other Greek deities. However, authors are still unsure what to make of the sirens because they have also been portrayed as bird women. The two horses that Achilles rode were sired by Zephyrus, the god of the west wind, and their mother was a harpy. Iris's sisters were called Harpies, and they were born to their parents, Typhon and Echidna. They were universally regarded as the agents who were tasked with carrying out the divinely ordained punishments. In addition to this, they became known as the Hounds of Zeus. Due to this fact, Phineus, king of Thrace, possessed the gift of prophecy during his reign. Because Phineus had divulged too much information, Zeus became irritated. So as a form of punishment, he exiled him to a remote island with an endless supply of delicious food that he was unable to consume. Harpies snatched the food away from Phineus before he could fulfill his appetite, and the meager amount of food that they had left was tainted by their offensive sense. In this sense, Harpies functioned as agents of punishment. Their duties included kidnapping and torturing the victims they captured. Strophides was home to a population of Harpies. They were harsh, cruel, and aggressive toward one another. In most cases, they were portrayed as personifications of the destructive force of wind. They were now supposed to be three sisters instead of the original two. Aiello, storm swift, Celaeno, the dark, sometimes known as Podarge, fleet foot, and Ocyphit, the swift wing. Aiello's name means storm swift, while Celaeno's name means the dark. The torment that Phineus was going through continued until Jason and the other Argonauts arrived on the island in fulfillment of their agreement to save Phineus. Sons of Boreas, or the North Wind, were Boreads with the ability to fly. They were successful in driving away the Harpies and even managed to kill one of them. Iris demanded and received a promise from Phineus that the Harpies would not trouble him again, and in exchange, the rest of the people were given permission to securely return home. Phineus, in gratitude to the Argonauts for their assistance, explained to them how to traverse the simple gates. Harpies were a common problem for Aeneas on Strophides since they stole food from the feast that was prepared by the Trojans on multiple occasions. Celaeno placed a curse on the Trojans, predicting that by the time they reached their destination, they would be so famished that they would consume their furniture. The Trojans ran away in fear as a result of this. The bird known as the American Harpy eagle was given its name after this legendary beast. The word harpy can also be used in a figurative sense to refer to a lady who is disagreeable or obnoxious. A good illustration of this can be found in William Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Beatrice is a woman with a very sharp tongue. Benedict tells Don Pedro, the prince, that he would rather laboriously complete difficult chores for him rather than hold a three-word conference with this harpy. Pottery and paintings sometimes featured depictions of harpies. They were frequently depicted in artwork as fleeing from the Boreads, who were said to be their pursuers. They were sometimes portrayed as horrible tormentors of individuals who had upset the gods in the past. During the Renaissance period in Europe, harpies were frequently used as subjects for sculpture. In addition to this, they had connections to demons and other horrible beings that lived in hellish environments. The use of harpies was also rather common in heraldry. The harpy, often known as the Virgin Eagle, rose to prominence and popularity during the Middle Ages. They had the appearance of a ravenous vulture with the head and breasts of a woman. Their reputation preceded them. As an example of its widespread use in heraldry, one need only look as far as East Frisia, the coats of arms of Rietberg and Liechtenstein, or the Circina. Harpies, like other Greek monsters, were more commonly shown in artwork than they were mentioned in ancient literature. Additionally, you'll come across the occasional use of them in popular culture today. Harpies have been portrayed in movies, television shows, video games, and other areas of popular culture due to the hybrid nature of their bodies as well as their aggressive behavior. That's a wrap on the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.